Okay, this is now part 2. We have created the installation record, and this is an older database that we're currently using, so you get an idea of how it currently works. But the installation record has the serial number that we created. It also has the original license, and if you recall, we talked about the expiration date being set 30 days out from the today's date, which, and this is using the Western format, it's July 26th will be the expiration date, and June 26th was the creation date. So what this means is at some point between now and July 26th, the customer must send us their machine ID, at which point we will enter the machine ID and then create the activation code. And I can go over that process with you in a minute, but first we want to create the add-on license, the second license. This represents the base license. It's a kind equal to 1. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to create an add-on license. And we're going to create the add-on license. If you recall, I'm going to zero these out. We were going to provide a web client, and the web client was going to expire a year from the date of purchase. So this is one of these licenses that works, but only until the expiration date. And so there we've gone ahead and we've set up the web client license, again using the old Windows, which you'll be recreating in PHP. And I'll go ahead and I'll save this. And now that I've got that saved, you can see down here we've got a license kind equal to 3, and it's referenced here as 10 email users. Now that we've done that, I'm going to run off and grab a machine ID just to show you how the machine ID process works. This is actually our fax server product I'm launching, and the fax server product is what the licensing that we're creating is to be used for. I can't copy and paste that, but what I will do is I'll move my window over here. This would be typically how a license would be activated, and when the program is opened up, they would go into a licensing window. They would click on the online registration, and this would send them up to a website, and it would look like this. And you can see it would take the machine ID, which is what we want, and it'll take the serial number which we sent them, which happens to be, in this case, it's the number over here. I'm just showing you an example here, but I'm going to go ahead and use our machine ID, and I'm going to create an activation code. And I'm going to paste the machine ID in here, and I'm going to go ahead and create the code. Now, the machine ID is a unique number, and it's sort of like a credit card where if it's invalid, none of this will work. But it's a 4 characters, a dash, 4 characters, a dash, and 3 characters. So I've gone ahead and I've created the code, and now I'm going to save it. And now you'll see that with the machine ID, we're able to combine it with the serial number and make the activation code. And the final step, now that you see all this, we have to send the customer a license file. So I've got an option here to create the license file, and we have a format where we save the license file, and we always call it license. I'll go ahead and I'll save it as license, and I'll put it in quotes here. But this is part of the process that we're trying to automate. And I'll go ahead and I'll save it. And you see the license file was created. And the last thing I wanted to do was I wanted to show you the contents of the license file. So I will open it up. And there you can see up here. It's kind of small, but it shows you it's a base license. Then the second line is the serial number. The third line is the activation code. See there? And then down here. And then the fourth line is the base license number. You can see that down here. And then the fifth line is any add-on licenses, which reflects here. And that's the process from beginning to end that we're trying to accomplish with CodeGen in the new system. And ultimately we want to create a license file because this is what our program runs. I don't know if you're familiar with Macintosh at all, but if I took you to like a programs folder on Macintosh called Applications, and I took you to the server folder where our program runs, it has a place where this license file lives, and you can see there it is. It's living inside this fax server data folder, and there's an example of the current license that we're using for this fax server running on our machine. But this is the program for which the licensing is created. Here is the license that I just created in our sample case, and that's where the licensing lives, and that's why we create these license files. But that's an overview of the entire process of a customer placing an order, us creating the serial number and the base license, then going back and creating the add-on license, and typically there would be a number of days that would pass between when we created the base licensing and before we would get the machine ID and the activation code request from the customer, because the website that it took you to ultimately sent us an email, and we would do this whole process manually. So that's the process. I hope you enjoyed it.